Welcome to Ghost Talk with the Illinois Paranormalists. I'm Paul Schmidt. I'm the founder of the club and the leader. We've been around, it'll be 12 years this summer. I've been ghost hunting for 21 years, so this is kind of my thing. We don't do like regular podcasts, but we do podcasts when we've been somewhere that's really interesting. And we're at the USS Edson, which is a Navy destroyer, which is now a museum over in Saginaw Bay, Michigan. I've been there twice. It's a fascinating place to go. You get to sleep on board, so it's kind of cool too. You sleep in the bunks that they would have slept in. And this was another trip. It was very interesting. It was also unique for us. We had all male investigators, which I always say when I give lectures that most ghost hunters are women. And I've gone for years at being me and all women. It's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just made it kind of unique that we're there and it's all men. So we had a good crew, people with talents and various technical knowledge. I'm going to let we have two investigators here that were there. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Tyler,
Yeah, go
Austin.
ahead.
Sorry, no, Austin.
All right, my name is Austin Kinzer, and yeah, I've been with the Paranormalists since the middle of last year, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, and I'm Tyler Kinzer, Austin's older brother. Joined shortly a little bit after Austin here. And yeah, loving it so far. So, hello.
Yeah, we got some pictures. We also got video. Um, Another Kinzer was on the boat. We brought Dylan, but he couldn't be here today. And Ron and his son were also on the boat, but they couldn't be here today. A very fascinating story about this ship. It was, of course, a destroyer for many years. Then, after 9/11, they pulled it up to Manhattan and it was used for communications because when the towers went down, the government lost a lot of communication abilities. And here's a picture off the bow. And so they use this ship to communicate. And so it's known as a 9/11 ship, and there's even a room in there called the 9/11 room. Yeah, there it is when it was still a full Navy destroyer. Uh, we went there, and I'm gonna let these two kind of talk about what they, how we did it and what we did and what they saw and heard.
Sure. Um, yeah, and just to add, Paul, to what you said about it being involved in 9/11, when we were on the tour of the ship, the caretaker was telling us about how there was supposedly dust from 9/11 in the ship and on the ship, and I wanted to look into that for myself, and I did. And it is verifiable fact that the ship was located within the proximity of where
Mhm.
a bunch of dust was found from 9/11. So that's an actual true fact that the dust the ship was in the dust cloud, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna say the Edson as far I've done what? How many with you, Paul? Now I've done at least five
Yeah,
investigations, and this is definitely the most interesting by far. Um, and I did not expect that going in. I thought it was to be honest, I thought it was gonna be overhyped. But by the time we left that ship, it had completely changed my mind. Um, and I honestly can't wait to go back. And so, do you want us to just kind of go from the start of the investigation, or?
yeah, that'd be fine. I also let me just
Uh,
add quick that a lot of investigations, we went someplace last summer that was so hyped, and I was so excited to go there, and then nothing.
mhm.
Absolutely nothing happened. But, we always say ghost hunting is like fishing. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, and then sometimes it switches over. So you think
Yeah,
nothing's happening. The other thing with going to places with EVPs, you don't know that really till you get home and you can listen to it all. So I've gone to places thinking there's
right.
nothing and then gotten home and oh my God, it was all kinds of voices and talking and it's fascinating. So that's why we do this. So anyways, go ahead,
Yeah.
Austin. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, real
And I was
quick,
going to
Ty, what about?
say,
Yeah.
I was going to say, agreeing with you, when Austin, told me about the ship and all that, I got really excited. I'm like, oh, destroyer, go ship. This could be really cool. But the lack, literally, though, of I don't want to say history, but lack of paranormal history or stories of the ship is very, very minimal. So I was like, is this even going to be really worth the drive? 6 hours, you know? And like Austin said, this far exceeded expectations. So I'm glad I went with an open mind. 'Cause it just made me appreciate it all the more.
Yeah, because when you go and you try and find the claims, the paranormal claims about the ship, only thing that comes up is the fact that they use it as a haunted house every year. And it's actually there really isn't a lot of documented ghost stories about the thing. So we
No,
went
is
in
it being
there,
sensationalized?
yeah. So we went in there kind of, I guess, underestimating it, and I would say it started with the first part of our investigation. We were all in the front of the ship has this meeting room where all the higher ups would sit and meet, and um, we're all sitting in there, and we were running. Sebastian was running an Ovilus app on his phone, which, to be honest, I've always kind of doubted. I never really trusted phone apps to do legit paranormal investigations, but we had names coming through this Ovilus over and over and over. Tyler, you said it was like how many names? At one point,
I
there was
want
like
to say,
in a row or
based on
something.
yeah, based on my footage and looking back, I want to say at one point it got, if I recall correctly, it was like over 15, getting close to 20 names that just spouted back to back. A lot of female, some male, um, which, you know, after the tour, when the caretaker, the property owner was, you know, kind of going over the history of the ship itself, none of those names came up in anything she said. So where did
Right.
all these names come from?
Yeah.
And I
And
doubt
then
there's that many females on the ship. So
yeah. And then for me, for that section of our investigation, we did capture an EVP. I don't have it pulled up right now, but we did capture an EVP. You can listen to the recording that'll be released when we put out the documentary. But um, you can hear we're talking, and Sebastian has a word come through his Ovilus app, and it says stuff. And Sebastian reads it off. He goes, stuff, huh? And then you hear a voice immediately after that that none of us acknowledged go, stuff. And
yeah,
it like repeated what he said. And that was really, I mean, we don't
deep
have an
male
explanation
scratching.
for it. We have, I'm in the process of trying to debunk that right now and check video footage and see if anybody in the room said that. But so far, all indications point that nobody said that out loud. Um, I don't know,
And
Paul.
this voice was deep.
How was that section for you? That whole moment.
It was interesting. I don't think I got any EVPs out of that. The other thing I was just going to mention is we were there in November, so we froze to death. The inside of the ship was 30 degrees. We were supposed to be there in spring, and someone double booked us and booked 65 Boy Scouts the same day. And there's no way you
Oh,
could do ghost hunting with 65 Boy Scouts. But anyway, so yeah, it's always a fascinating. I find that ship very fascinating. And there's certain active areas. You guys found the 9/11 room very active. I think there's one up
Yes.
mhm.
front that's really active. Um, they said the meeting room we were in can be active, and that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think we got the Sebastian with the stuff and all that. So
Mm-hmm. Um, Paul, after
And
that,
I
we kind of split up. Did you what was the rest of your investigation like after that?
we stayed in mainly up in the meeting room because you guys were the other end of the ship, and did EVPs and did the obelisk and tried to get what we could. But again, I'm used to doing this, so it was kind of fascinating to do the whole thing. We were up, I think it's like an officers area that the meeting room is in. So it was
yeah,
really good.
just
Yep,
past the mess hall.
right. But it's also fascinating, by the way, just to see. I mean, what a Navy destroyer looked like on the inside. How they
Mhm.
lived, what they put up with, and I, for one, found that the beds are about an inch or two short for me. So you
Well,
kind of
we don't have that.
imagine, how tall you have to be or whatever to be on these ships. I remember, forgot his name. Oh, it's David Robinson. He was a Navy cadet or whatever, and he was supposed to go work on submarines. Well, he was like 7'2". He was a number one draft choice out of the NBA, and
Oof.
yeah, they said they basically had to finally just get him out of it because you just don't fit. But anyways,
So
that's
yeah,
just
he's walking down the hall hitting every pipe, ding,
right,
ding,
right.
ding with his head.
So that's
Yeah, and
interesting.
that kind of leads us into what happened for us next in the next part of the night was um because the point is that ship is a labyrinth. It is an absolute labyrinth. There are rooms, off of hallways, off of rooms and stairwells, and there is so many times when you can be if you were to draw a straight line between people, you could be 10 feet from them, but they're around a corner and they can't hear you. And you literally have to yell to
Hmm.
communicate to each other, which leads us to our next point, when we released the full video of our experience on the Edson, there was a point after which, after we split ways, Dylan and I and Tyler, we went down to the bottom level of the ship. In the back of the ship, the very back room in the corner is a workshop, and we were down there and we were doing some EVP sessions, and I think the REM pod was set up, and we know that Sebastian and Ron had left the ship to go get coffee or food or something like that. Um, they had left the ship, and we were down in there, and we're doing these recordings, and then we hear above our head. It sounds like multiple people walking or stomping, basically, but walking above us.
And
And
that was right after we asked it to make a noise. Dylan was asking, "Can you make this noise?" He's knocking on the table, and then that started.
yeah, you'll see in the footage, Dylan asks if it can knock on the walls or something or make some noise. And then within 30 seconds, we start hearing all these footsteps above us. And you'll watch the footage. We open it up and we listen and we go, oh no, that's just them getting back on the ship. That has to be. It was so loud and prominent. So then a few minutes later, we wrap up our session. We go upstairs only to discover that Ron and Sebastian are still gone. They didn't come back on the ship. They had been gone
Hmm.
the entire time. So we tracked down Paul to see if Paul had been, if you had been walking around and you're laying in your bed trying to stay warm.
Yes.
And so we spend the
Surviving.
next 15 minutes in the documentary is us trying to recreate those footsteps that we heard, and the only way that anybody could have made those noises is if they were directly standing above our room, the room we were in, stomping loudly on the deck, and nobody was. And so that blew our minds, and we still don't have an explanation for that. Um,
Because
and
this
then
sounded
yeah,
like a
Ty, where
group
did we?
of people.
It was multiple sets of footsteps walking and stomping above us, and I still don't have an explanation for it. But Tyler, where did we go after that?
Um, so at that point, I mean, at that point, we were trying to do the experiment where we were flip flopping from upstairs on the deck to downstairs with our cameras. I'm filming up on the deck because again they went up there first. I was in the room by myself. They went upstairs or up onto the deck, and I'm down there shouting as loud as I can, and they can barely hear me. They almost had to put their ear to the deck to hear me. And I mean, it's blustery outside. It was starting to snow, so it was tough. And I couldn't hear any footsteps. My footage didn't pick up any footsteps. Then we flip flop, and I'm doing exactly what they were doing. I'm stomping, I'm jumping around, probably looking like an idiot to somebody outside. Like, is that guy, mental or something? and um, and they couldn't hear me. I'm shaking the gangplank, and we reconvened, and we're like, okay, something's going on. Let's maybe try a different portion. Let's see if maybe everything's becoming more active. And as far as from my knowledge or memorization here, we went, I believe, up to where the engine bay or engine room was. We walked through all the bunks, or went past the 911 room. We went to where all the engine equipment was, and as far as I know, that wasn't extremely active. After that,
But
then
then we
we
went
went up. yeah, then we went up to the I don't know, the bridge, I think. Where
Yeah,
the
but
helm with all the sonar stuff. But
yeah,
again,
but
we
that was
found nothing there. But again, then that let us go into the back towards the back of the ship again. And then at that point, Austin and Dylan wanted to go run and grab coffee because they got the idea from Ron and Sebastian. And at that point, I was left alone in the cabin where Paul, the caretaker, I can't remember. Was Paul actually a serviceman on the ship or a crew on the ship? He was
so
not.
the old caretaker of the ship, his name was, I forget his last name, but his name was Paul. He was not an active service member on the ship, but he was a caretaker for it after it was docked in Bay City, and he
Right.
passed away on the ship in Thanksgiving Day of 1999.
I think there's
Yeah,
an article
And
and
saying
that,
he loves the ship. He's gonna die here. I think there's an article somewhere. He said, I'm never gonna leave this ship. I love it."
yeah, he literally is quoted as saying that he knew he was going to die on the ship, and we decided to spend the night and set up our sleeping arrangement in the room that was his room that he lived in. So Dylan and I go and get coffee, and we come back, and Tyler is sitting there having a full-on conversation with
In
the
the dark.
K2 EMF in the dark. He's laying there in Paul's bed, and he's talking to it. And I start filming, and it's being completely responsive to what Tyler's saying and asking. It's fluctuating up and down, and that goes on for probably 10 minutes. And that
But
was just
it got
it was
and that light got to a point where zero flicker, absolutely zero, just lit up solid. Anything I asked, it would just stay solid, zero flickering. Asked it to stop, it would go back down. But I noticed it responded a lot to when I gave praise, like you kept the type shit. You took care of this place really well, and it would respond very highly in the level every time I gave him praise.
and it's
So
not
sorry, didn't mean to
unusual
jealous.
that caretakers or custodians or whatever will be haunting a location. It's like
have
they
you
spend.
encountered that before,
Oh
Paul?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they spend so much time there that yeah, that's where they want to be. They were happy there. They feel responsible, and so yeah, I've had it happen at other locations. So
Right.
it's not unusual.
And then
Well,
to
that
to my to my knowledge, the next portion, that's what Austin came up with. Hey, let's go check out that 9/11 room. Let's go there. And that's where to me,
so
the stuff hit the fan.
yeah. So for those who don't know, the 911 room is the specific room in the ship where they set up the communications station. Um, And yeah, so we went down there, and I submitted the footage from this session. It's a lot of unedited footage, but there is some definite highlights. Um, the real ones being there's a moment where I directly ask the EMF detector, and I ask the question, was George Bush ever in this room? And you can see it for yourselves in the clip that we've submitted. The EMF detector instantly shoots to max and stays there. Oh, sorry, what's that? Oh, that one was right when I asked. It's like it was earlier. It's like 7 minutes, 8 minutes or so,
Yeah, because we were
or
getting
11. No,
minor
I think that one is at 11 minutes 15 seconds. Let me see.
yeah, because we were getting minor flickering, not so much actually
Thank you for
responding
lighting it
to
up.
responses, but you can see there's something here. And it was, yeah, right
Was President
immediately
Bush in
when
here?
Austin asked.
Yep. So that's
That's
at 11 minutes. 11 minutes
bam.
10 seconds.
Did you see that? It maxed out. Dude! Look at that, dude! Full max!
Did you talk to President Bush?
And this is when it actually starts responding to us.
Did you get to meet him? Was he here on the ship with you?
Yeah. So that was
Is
that
there
was a big
residual
moment.
energy from 9/11?
Yeah, so that was a big moment, and then you see this segment of our investigation is 45 minutes long, unedited, and so that continued on. We had these waves of responses coming, and then the activity dies down, and then for some reason we start to wonder. This is gonna come. This might come a little weird to the listeners, but we start to wonder if some of the activity we're receiving might be our mother, because I have a clip here from a previous investigation, um, where we were doing a spirit box session, and we had a voice come through right as I was going to shut off the spirit box. A voice comes through and says my name, and us as brothers, we have every reason to believe that the voice sounds exactly like our mother, who we lost suddenly in May of 2024. Um, and yeah, at this previous investigation, the spirit box had been sitting there for 15 minutes, not making a sound as I'm doing a session. And right as I go to pick it up, you hear this voice come through and say my name in the exact same tone and inflection that she used to say it when I was a little kid, like trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
If you guys want, I can play it real quick. I have
Yeah,
it pulled
go
up
ahead.
here. And yeah, let me know if you guys can't hear it. Can anybody just hear my name come through that? I'll play that one more time as I pick it up the spirit box. Yeah. So this is after 15 minutes of nothing coming through this box. So here I am picking it up, about to shut it off. Can anybody just hear my name come through that?
Yeah.
And you can hear the other investigation. One more time?
It's,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Here I am picking it up.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Can
clear.
anybody just hear my name come through that? So yeah, and the other investigators around me, like, it's not listener bias. It's not me having wishful thinking. The other people around me said, "Did that just say your name?" So they all heard my name as well. So that led us to wonder if the activity we were receiving in the 9/11 room was our mom, and we decided to start talking to it as if it could be, to see what kind of responses we get. And we have a couple timestamps in this to show some of that responsiveness. I'll
But
either
we are skipping one portion though of the 9/11 portion when we were talking to those victims. Obviously in the responses, it was getting high spikes, but that's when we were still talking about 9/11 when Dylan said, "Let me go grab those cat balls," and brought him back to the room because the cat balls were being used by mom too. But we started those cat balls with the 9/11 questions.
Cat balls, by
So
the
that
way,
I have that.
are cat toys, and they light up when you move them around. So we use a lot of those in ghost hunting.
Yeah, they have sensors. So these balls have sensors in them that only can be triggered by kinetic energy. It's not through vibrations or tone of voice or anything like that, which, because I've shown this footage to people and everybody says, "Oh, it's just your voice setting it off. It's the vibrations in your voice." You can sit there next to this cat ball and yell at it. It won't do anything. It's only kinetic energy that could set it off. So, and usually that
Or
requires you to move.
yeah, or physically being rolled or moved.
Right, kinetic. Um, so yeah, you can see there's these clips here, um, where we start saying there's a point in time, I don't have the timestamps, but Dylan says it's four separate times, back to back to back to back. He goes, "Mom," and the ball lights up, and we wait for it to stop. We have a little bit more conversation. Then Dylan goes, "Mom," again, and it lights up again. And that happens four times in a row. And then, yeah, you can see. I'm not sure about the timestamps, Brian, but the big one for me was towards the end of the session. Yeah, there's Dylan. You can see it. Dylan is sitting there just perplexed at the responses we're getting with this. And then there's another wave of nothing for probably 15 minutes, 10-ish minutes. And I just randomly noticed that the EMF starts going off.
I knew it. I think
and you can see I go, because it goes to red. So I'm like, red. And I'll just honestly, I'll let the clip play. It speaks for itself.
Here,
But this moment on this timestamp is, again, after at least 10 minutes of nothing. And then, yeah, if you want to play that.
red. How about that cat ball? Oh my God!
I just happen to say, how about that cat ball? And it just immediately responds. Like, and people watch this clip and they get confused as to why I get so excited and have such a big reaction. And what people who don't do this investigating don't understand is the amount of hours that we spend looking at these devices, the K2 and the cat ball. I've put them up and down hallways, all over rooms. I've spent hours staring at the K2 meter, and nothing ever happens. Nothing
it's
ever.
disheartening.
Right, and you spend hours just waiting for something to happen and nothing, and then here we are in this room, and it's going off at impeccable timing. Like,
For
if
an
somebody
hour.
explain that, you know.
For an
So
like 45 minutes to an hour, it was nonstop. What we asked, it would do it. We would, if
yeah,
mom, whoever, we say, if you are here, please stop touching that device, make it go off, or can you make that light go all the way back down to 0? It would do it. Okay, can you make it go back up? And it would just do it
yeah.
on command. And again, these things aren't like command oriented. You can't just tell it to do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, honestly, these little clips and moments doesn't do the whole session justice. I'm going to be including in the documentary, which we're working on as we speak. It's in post production. Um, it will show, and anybody who watches the full session will understand it and appreciate it much more, because you'll see the flow of how everything happens. And there's really like 20 something minutes of active activity that we could sit here and watch. But yeah, it would just take a lot.
Yeah, let me mention Austin does have a YouTube channel, and he produces podcasts on the paranormal. You want to give a plug? I don't know what the name is.
Yeah, so I have a personal YouTube project. It's called Noetic Nomad. It's a brand new project I've been launching. I've been filming for it since last summer when I joined the Illinois Paranormalists, and now I've got, what do we got? We've got 5 episodes that I'm working on, basically like a season 1 drop. I'm editing all these episodes together, and part of those episodes will be our investigations at the Fairfield County Infirmary, the 1860s Masonic Lodge in Keithsburg, Illinois, where we just got that voice clip of the voice coming through the spirit box and saying my name. And then the third one would be the USS Edson. They're all in post production. They're going to be getting dropped. I'm trying to get them out within the next month or so. I'm trying to finish them all and then release them all every week. So we'll be doing like a season 1 drop of content.
And I'm sure we'll put a link on our Facebook page to reach over there.
And again, yeah, that channel is called Noetic Nomad. So that's me doing investigative documentaries per se.
Not all like with us. He does some stuff on his own, but it's just
Yeah,
interesting.
it'll be the channel. That channel is it's conspiracies and investigative mysteries and ancient history. And then the whole question of, are we alone, and that embeds itself in the paranormal. So it's all under this giant umbrella. But yes, so there'll be lots of paranormal content on it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that
So
this is nothing to do with the Edson, but talking about like stuff not happening. You're sitting there for hours, nothing. I was with my wife. We were at the Myrtles Plantation, which is very well known for being haunted. And we were sitting there in this room, and well, like there was like a separate parlor area and bedroom, and I got the K2 going for hours, nothing. My wife gets up and walks into the other room and trips. K2 goes to red, boom, and just kind
Whoa.
of like stays there. And so my wife comes back and she's like, well, ask again what you asked. I made it go off. I said, I didn't ask anything. I said, it's laughing at you. And so she asked, she goes, "Were you laughing at me?" Boom, it goes all the way to red. So spirits were there. We
Wow.
didn't know it, but it was funny.
That was at Myrtle's Plantation.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Louisiana, right outside Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Almost all the major ghost shows have been there. I've been there twice. My daughter used to live down in New Orleans, so I was down there.
Oh,
So I took the opportunity to stop. And the first time I was there was really interesting. I'm there by myself in that room, by the way, and I'm just waiting for like night to go ghost hunting, and I hear a baby crying, and I didn't think anything of it because this is now a B&B, so there's families there,
yeah.
whatever. Well, the next day when the staff asked me if I got anything, I said, "Oh no," but I said, "I heard a baby crying, but I'm sure it was just a family." They go, "There are no babies here," and they got all excited. Matter of fact, every staff member I ran into already knew because they talked to everybody else. They're all whipped up. "You heard a baby crying?" I'm like, "Yeah, clear as a bell." And stupid me, I wasn't recording, which is why you also gotta
Yeah, and
think about it.
that's what
You need a
people
lot of
don't.
battery backup.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the times your best experiences and evidence it happens when you aren't recording and aren't expecting it.
that's why
Or
most of
trying.
us we run our recorders like when we take breaks because we've had
Yeah,
EVPs while we're on break. You just never know. So, but
Sure.
yeah,
that was interesting. But yeah, I thought it was
yeah.
so funny when it laughed at her. And
And I really wish Dylan could have made it today because in the documentary when we put it out, you're going to see Dylan's journey is probably the most interesting one of the experience because I have footage of him as we're driving up there and I'm asking him how he's going into the investigation, what he's feeling and what he's thinking. And he sits there and he says, we're probably not going to experience anything. It's, it's whatever, but I'm looking forward to going to the ship. And then by 2 a.m., there's a clip that I start filming him on when we're in our room. And the clip starts and he's sitting there like this because he is coming unglued because after Tyler went to bed, after the 9/11 room, Dylan and I went back down to the workshop
Yeah, I
and
felt off after the 9/11 room. Like I just felt super
drained.
crazy cold. I was shivering all over, and I was wearing multiple layers: long sleeve shirt, hoodie, hat, multiple socks, and all of a sudden I just felt drained, achy. Like I just wanted to lay down.
Yeah,
And
Tyler
then
hit a
they
wall.
decided to go on without me.
Yeah, Tyler hit a wall, and so he went to bed. But Dylan and I went back down to the base. So we are the only ones at this point anywhere near anybody. And we're in that workshop where we the same workshop where we heard the stomping overhead earlier in the night. And Dylan has something happen that he never ever expected to happen to him. He felt a hand on his shoulder. He felt two fingers pressed down on his shoulder, and he literally explains this. You'll see it in the video. He literally explains how he has never ever expected anything like that to happen, and you'll watch him come more and more perplexed and unglued as he tries to figure it out because he doesn't have an answer for it. And so he just becomes more and more bothered by it. So the documentary will show his journey from probably nothing's going to happen to by the end of it he's kind of stressed out. He doesn't have answers.
And a little bit of back context also, if you want to give it, because I'm trying to remember exactly why we were in that room. But there was a reason we were in that room, I believe, if I recall, and why, there could be explanation if he was touched or made contact that way. That I believe a sailor on the ship was given what is it, Dear John
yeah,
letter.
Yeah, so that workshop is the only spot where they have actual confirmation of a death on the ship. It was
Accidental, we don't know.
we don't know if it was suicide or accidental, but the story goes that the gentleman who worked in that room um, received a Dear John letter while they were at sea, or I'm not sure exactly where they were, but received a Dear John letter, and that room, that workshop, has a storage area underneath it. But the hatch to get in there is super tiny. I don't think I could fit through it. And the gentleman went down in there and closed the hatch, and we don't know if he knew or not, but that hatch was a self-sealing hatch that once you closed it, it sealed itself. And essentially what
You
happened
can't
was
open it and get back out.
right, you can't open it from the inside once he was in there, and he passed away in there. through via suffocation. So again, we don't know if that was a suicide or not, but yeah, you'll watch in the documentary. There's all these little moments that happen that are just that proved for quite an exciting place, honestly. And I even if we hadn't experienced anything at the Edson, it still would have been an amazing trip just for the history in itself of the ship, the fact that we were given basically free reign of the whole place and we could do all the exploration we want. I was floored at the level.
Yeah,
There were very few rooms in the whole thing that we couldn't go in. So it was really cool to have a whole Navy destroyer to yourself for a night. It was just
yeah.
awesome. I would thoroughly want to go back for sure.
And you know what's weird about that situation with the guy that went in there? To me, this is like the biggest mystery of the whole thing is there's no record anywhere. It's just a story that's been told. I mean, it's been confirmed it's happened, but there is absolutely no name to this gentleman of what happened. There's anywhere you look, there we don't know his name. We can't
You're talking
find
about
the
the
name
guy,
anywhere.
who
Who
suffocated?
went? Yeah, how is there no name of this gentleman who the only death really recorded on the ship in a one disturbing way? How is there not a name tied to it?
And I will say this too is that there is not a whole there's a good amount of documentation on the operations that this ship did, but what people don't realize is also the ship was involved in a lot of special operations during Vietnam,
Hmm.
and the documentation on those operations would not be accessible. And so there is a lot of history that nobody truly knows except those who lived it at the time when they did those operations. Those are the only people who would know what that ship actually faced and what actually went through. So that tells me special forces, Vietnam, probably a lot more happened on the ship than we know about.
The ship
Sure.
had a motto, 3 guns, no waiting.
Yep.
So we thought
Yes.
that
Yes,
was
it did.
funny. I'm also speaking, I've got tickets this spring to go on the USS North Carolina battleship, which is in
Ooh,
off of North Carolina. Problem is, it's one
yeah.
of those things like you can't get there from here. So I'm trying to work out. I would have to fly to Raleigh and drive down to Wilmington to do it.
Oh, it's in
So
Wilmington. I was
yes,
stationed right by Wilmington.
so I'm kind of looking at that like, wow, this is getting extremely expensive and a long trip. But we'll
Yeah.
see. I got tickets to go. And what it is, a lot of more
Wow.
famous ghost hunters are going to be there. People I know, and it's the battleship's apparently like 3, 4, or 5 times bigger than the
Sure.
Edson.
Edson.
I know it's got like
Yeah,
And the
9
Edson felt
levels.
huge.
Right, it's got
yeah.
9 levels. So,
Good
Yeah, there's
Lord.
no way you're going to see that whole thing.
no, it'll be cool.
That's awesome, Paul.
But yeah, I'd
But
say
yeah,
that
I
was
guess
pretty much our night.
guess it's true what they say about ships and that they carry energy. And I don't know if it's because the water acts as a magnifier for this type of stuff, but it it was a thoroughly impressive experience.
And it could also be energy from what happened at 9/11.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
water 9/11, it stays as a true naval vessel. All kinds of
Hmm.
things. We heavily recommend it if you want to go to Saginaw Bay,
yeah.
and it's a good experience. And they also
We
do,
can't guarantee you'll have the same experience, but
yeah, we can't.
as you said, it's like fishing.
And they also do a haunted house in October, which kind of drives me nuts. Most of these places now do that when you go to haunted locations. In like
Oh,
October, they run
really?
haunted houses because they make a lot of money. I don't
Uh,
know
th-
what like
guess
I
that's
don't know
fair.
what they make, but I know every place does it. And yeah, it's just it interferes with us because we want to go there. We don't want to go there for the Halloween haunted house. We want to go there if it's haunted.
Yeah,
And
it kind of
The real
muddies the
thing.
water on the yeah, it kind of muddies the water on the real stuff that's happening there, you
right,
know?
yeah, we went and did an
And then it also makes you
investigation.
question too, if someone on the side can, if there's haunted house equipment in this thing, could they possibly do things
Right,
to sell to private groups like us and keep us coming back? But
I hope so.
everything,
Paul's
I
got it.
mean, everything in this ship is like decommissioned.
right,
I'll be honest, I had a full blown ADD experience. I was hitting every button I could find just to see what would happen, and nothing worked. So I can verify that I don't think they were doing that there. That was just, yeah.
right. Yeah, I went to one hospital where they did a haunted house and they kept the stuff up year round. So we went there thinking, oh, we're just there to do a ghost hunt. Oh my God,
Oh,
you're walking through zombies and bloody stuff, and this, but it's all it's all fake for Halloween. But like, this isn't why we're here. And supposedly,
right.
by the way, spirits hate that. They hate the haunted houses. That's what I've read.
I'm sure it
So
feels disrespectful.
yeah, and you got all kinds of people going through. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
how many a day? Anything else?
absolutely.
Please visit our Facebook page, The Illinois Paranormalist. We got a really good web page too, ghosttip.com. Ghost, there's two T's, GHOSTTIP. On our website, we have a schedule where we're going. We have summaries of all the investigations. We try to put in evidence when we get it. So you have a good idea like what we're up to. There's a contact form if you want to contact us. So please give us, and if you go to Facebook, give us a like. We always like that. So
absolutely.
anything else,
Awesome.
guys?
Nope, I've just got to finish editing these things so we can get them out and people can watch them.
Okay.
No, like I said, this is, especially the Edson. This is one of the reasons I keep doing this and keep coming back to it. It's the excitement, especially like what we said, hours of nothing and the significance of when it does go off and why we get so excited. That's exactly why. It's like this wasn't a wasted trip. This was, here we are. So
It's like golf.
yeah,
It
you
can be
hit
the
that
most
amazing
frustrating
shot
thing, and then you have the one thing that happens that keeps you hooked and keeps you coming back.
right before you throw your golf clubs in the pond and then you hit an amazing
Yeah.
shot. You're like, I love golf again.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, keep in touch. We don't do these, like I said. I don't try to keep like a weekly podcast or whatever. I know a lot of clubs do. And then they all run out of things to say or people to speak. But we do these when we think we got someplace interesting. And I do try to,
Sure.
pick or we try to go to places I find that are a little unique. And this is very
Done
unique.
a great job of that so far.
And
Yeah.
we'll keep that up. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I've been on two and you're 2 for 2, Paul. So keep it up.
Okay.